and welcome to Trade Roots. Today we've left Peep HQ and we've moved to the salubrious surroundings of Neil Wilson Design, where I'm joined by the founder of the company, Neil Wilson. Hello Neil, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thanks for joining us today.
No problem.
Alongside Neil Wilson Design, you're also a part of SolidKit and Panda Babies. Do you want to give a brief overview of the three companies?
Well, basically, I'm a founder of Neil Wilson Design, and that's the core of our activities. And about 3 or 4 years ago, I decided to explore different revenue streams and different opportunities. So I decided to sort of form SolidKit that allows me to express my work in furniture. And also, then we also started something called Panda Babies. And that is just an exploration into the digital world. And
what do you do with Neil Wilson Design? What's the main?
We started off as an interior design consultancy originally, but through just I don't know my explorative sort of nature, I just wanted to try branding. Doing websites, and now we offer like a full service to clients, so we can do an interior and brand the company, and we can also offer a website, and we do different levels for different companies.
So pretty much between the three companies, then you just cover all bases of design, pretty much.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Between the three businesses and the amount of design that you personally cover as an individual. Obviously, it's one of the major things in your life. It's a massive passion of yours. So, what was that initial spark that made you think, I want to explore design as a career?
Well, it was an exhibition of industrial design at what was Newcastle Polytechnic, basically, and it's now Northumbria University. Yeah. I had always liked or enjoyed. Doing woodwork, doing art, pottery or whatever, but there was always that sort of, not a calling, but I always felt easy doing that stuff and enjoyed it. But I was going to be a woodwork teacher of all things. And then my technical drawing teacher took us to this exhibition, and I just thought, oh, wow.
Was there anything specific at that exhibition that just really
well, basically, I'd never known. I just didn't know the design of this sort existed. Right, okay, basically, there was design of trucks, there was design of hairdryers. There's basically just things that everyday objects that had been designed by these guys, and it just lit a spark.
No, fantastic.
And from there on, it was just I had to do it. It was just I needed to do it. I dropped art as well, and it was in my A-level. First, it was during the summer of the between my first and second year of A-level, A-levels, and basically I just had to do it, and went back and sort of said, how do I get to art school? How do I do one of these courses? So basically, the art department helped us do an O-level and prepare a portfolio to get into Bath Lane, which was a foundation course. And
is that Newcastle Bath Lane?
Yeah, Bath Lane was
Newcastle College.
Precursor to Newcastle College, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's I managed to do that, and it was really mind-blowing at the time, because I was quite in my eyes, probably quite a straight character, and I sort of went to art college, and there was all these crazy people, some guys wearing makeup, and just beautiful women all over the place. So it was just wonderful. It was just great. But it was a lot to sort of come to terms with, basically. Yeah. So it was just
a massive, fantastic experience, an eye-opening experience. Yeah,
it was great. And then I went on to Leeds Polytechnic, which I don't know what it's called now, Leeds Metropolitan or something.
Yeah, okay.
And did a great pure design course in a sense, but it was a furniture design course.
Okay, yeah.
And did three years there, and it was a good course, but I didn't enjoy Leeds, and I think it held us back a little bit. But then when I finished Leeds Poly, I came back to Newcastle and started just becoming I was wanting a job, but I didn't. I just explored different avenues. I had this idea at Leeds Polytechnic where it was a folding table, and I tried to get it made. I tried to get it, manufactured and sold. Nearly did, but there was a stock market crash and everything fell apart. So in the end, I just thought, well, I'm going to have to get a job, and applied for a job at FaulknerBrown Architects.
Okay, yeah, they're one of the. Yeah, one of the biggest at the time. Were they the biggest? Yeah,
one of the biggest architectural practices in the northeast, and a really good practice. They sort of learn the basics of becoming an interior designer.
So it was interior design that you got the job in there.
So basically, we help architects formulate a philosophy of design for various public buildings, which was really, really nice. It was, you'd be able to spend a lot of time on say a leisure pool for a certain town, or the best one I worked on was the York Barbican. I must have about 9 months doing the York Barbican's reception areas, the bars, the auditorium seating area, the main hall and that, and it was just it was a really, really good grounding.
No, I can imagine. So from FaulknerBrown, did you then go and set NWD up, or did you?
No. I basically, unfortunately, I got made redundant by FaulknerBrown's because there was a recession. Another one.
So that was what, 92, was it?
Yeah, 92. So in 92, I started just exploring different avenues of design. So I started going back to my furniture roots and started designing lights. Right, and I sort of had 2 or 3 lights which attracted some attention, and we got those lights into the Conran Shop in London, in Paris, in Liberties, and stuff like that.
So who was that through then?
That was through a collaboration with some well, it was a brother and sister in Newcastle.
Right, okay, yeah.
And we were going to set up a limited business together, but it didn't work out. And I fortunately got some interior design work, freelance with them, but then also FaulknerBrown's asked us to come back as a freelancer for about, So I was working with FaulknerBrown's for about 3 days a week, but also just pushing the lights, and I came up with some new ideas, and I contacted a guy called Benedict Cadbury,
right? And
he liked my lights a lot, so he said, well, I'm going to do an exhibition at the light fair in I think it was 98.
Yep.
1998, and we did this exhibition together, and we got attention from BHS, and I was asked to start working with one of their suppliers. Luckily, one of the suppliers was based in Cramlington, and I ended up with a royalty contract with them, and spent about 5 years working with them.
Excellent.
Eventually becoming head of design for them. However, all good things come to an end.
They do.
We basically we're struggling against Chinese imports, China making lots of things cheaply and very well as well. The quality was really good. However, the company wasn't really set up to manage that properly, and the competition and prices that all the big stores like Focus do it all, and the likes of B&Q and BHS were trying to force onto their suppliers. It just hurt the company basically, and dare I say the management was wasn't the best, and the place basically was starting to fold. So I got out and just looked around again for some activity to do, something to keep us out of trouble. So then I walked into a shop called Tempter, and there was a gentleman called Mark Bowden sitting there trying to sell furniture, and I looked downstairs and there was a little cubby hole. There was like a little sort of area that he had cordoned off for putting his rubbish in, and I said to him, well, why don't I sort of work from there and pay you a percentage of whatever I make from doing my activity? And he agreed to that, and then from there on I started designing interiors. Started off, the first one was an interior for Shola Amiobi, which he was a footballer at Newcastle United, and we did a lovely interior for him that was filmed for Footballers' Cribs, TV's Footballers' Cribs, which was really good. And from that work, we started doing commercial restaurants, and Mark, basically Mark closed his shop down.
Okay.
And I went my own way, and Mark went his way. And we started doing more commercial work, and there was a need to have some graphic input, graphic design, because we were doing restaurants and people needed logos, and that sort of lent itself to offering that service. And Mark, funny enough, was a really good graphic designer. He had done work on his own shop, and he's great on the websites, and he just started... Actually, he came in to help us on the interiors, but it just happened that we got a project, and he came in, and the whole thing has just sort of developed from there.
So apart from yourself, Neil, who else is involved within NWD?
Well, it's quite a loose collaboration of various creative people, basically. We have Mark Bowden, who I think I've talked about in the past, and I mean, he's just a crazy guy who's very quiet, but very, very creative and very technically gifted. And if it wasn't for him, I just don't think anything would work at NWD. If there's a problem on a computer, he sorts it. And everybody just goes, Mark, what's happening? And he'll come around and just smile and put it right. And he's just such a really nice lad. He's just unbelievably nice and very talented, thankfully. And then Steph, who... Steph came from a television background, never done any interior design, had thought about being an interior designer, wanted to be an interior designer, and I just love people with the enthusiasm, and she's got loads of it.
She's learned quite quickly, though, hasn't she? She's learned quite quickly the skills required, and the eye, and the...
But she's got the eye, basically. She knew. I mean, she's got her own work in the Observer magazine and stuff like that, so she is good.
Yes.
But she'd never done any commercial work before, so she basically comes in 2 days a week, and she's instrumental in pushing the interior stuff on now. It's really it's nice to sort of see her sort of blossoming and doing really, really nice work, even though she's got me as a sort of a sergeant major, which I'm trying to learn how to say. Just to step back and let her do it. It's awkward. It's difficult being a manager. It's not a natural position that I'm used to.
No, yeah. Especially when it's just like you and Mark collaborating initially, and obviously I know you have a lot of interns coming in as well, and kind of just managing them a little bit.
But I also, as you said, interns. I think. Last count is about 150 over about 10 years. I don't know how many year period it is. It's just been amazing. They come from all over Europe. We've had them from Spain, we're from France, Austria, wherever. Even had people applying from America, and I feel like I give something back.
No, as our teaching is coming back through.
And it's nice that they come back and say hello. Sometimes it's great, But I mean, it's nice to sort of follow their careers as well. One or two of them who've been really gifted, have done really, really well.
But also as well, just I think there's a time when you've had interns and when actually you're not quite suited to doing this, you've got a bit of an eye, but you haven't quite got the skills. I'm thinking Danny, and then obviously you've helped them go in a slightly different direction within the design world and absolutely be highly successful.
I mean, Danny came over, he's doing a young entrepreneurs internship, so he was learning how to be a designer and a business person, and I felt that he was an okay designer, but I think he's going to be a better salesman, so I basically suggested if he wanted to stay in the country, he'd be better off trying to be a salesman. And I suggested he try and work for an interior company, a Spanish company that sold interior products, and lo and behold, after about a year or two, he came back and he was selling solid surface crayon for porcelanosa.
Yeah.
And you know. And he's just gone from strength to strength.
He's quite high up within the UK.
Yeah. I think he's running an area shop or something in Manchester or in the northwest now, and you know, he's had a number of promotions, which is great to see. You know,
no, definitely.
I mean, one of the lads who helped us with one of the solid surface counters, Mesh, which is I think he's in Holland now working as very, you know, and he's very successful over there. You know,
brilliant.
And you know, other people who have helped us have become partners in architectural practices, and you know, from there. So the core of Neil Wilson Design now really is Mark and myself, because between me and Mark, we can offer a vast array of services at a very high quality. I mean, we don't sort of cut corners when we you know, we do design work. We try and do the very high standard stuff, and obviously not charge that much. But we do really want to achieve a high standard of design between us. We both have a you know, well, not a need, but we just want to do a high quality work. We both appreciate design, and we love it basically.
No, that obviously that comes through as well, especially with everything else that you're doing aside that. And so with Neil Wilson Design, what was like one of the highlights, or a few highlights? Obviously, Shola's house.
Shola's house, that was really nice. I think it's when projects are commercially successful. I do like some things we've done. There's some really nice jobs. However, I do get a lot of pride in when it looks good, but also it's a commercially successful project.
Okay,
and we have hit the key sweet points of what the client wants, which is a return on his investment, and that's what all businesses want.
I'm gonna have to. I'm sure you've won an award for an interior or two. In fact, I know you've won an award.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've won European Design Awards for lights. One of them was sold into John Lewis, and that one, that was called Sailboy. And also we've won Lord Mayor's. I think it's an architectural award for a hotel development and restaurant development called Luigi Cahn's. That was the restaurant, and the hotel was Ryokan. And we were up against architects on that particular competition. So it's nice, you know. Both Luigi Cahn's and the hotel are still in business and doing really well. So it's that's how.
Come back to you for more development here as well.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's another thing. It's nothing. It's good that clients come back to you because you're doing something right. I mean, a lot. You could easily sort of do something and they don't like it, and it's not successful, and they'll go somewhere else. Whereas, a lot of my clients we retain, and they come back time and time again.
No, that's brilliant.
Even though I've got a bad attitude.
Well, they don't like you at the time. However, when they see the success, they come back.
Well, it's not that. It's just I tell it how it is sometimes, and I think clients. They don't like to hear it, but they appreciate what you do for them.
Yeah, that's honesty, isn't it? I guess. Really.
Yeah, I try and be honest. But
so on the inverse of that, what's kind of like sort of a negative or a big learning curve, or what didn't quite go to plan? Was that how long you got? Yeah,
I mean, basically, I'd like to. I know money. I don't really think about making money in the business, but I think I need to start sort of. I'm getting older now, and I need to sort of think about retirement and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I need to somehow, make a little bit more money to allow us to feel a bit more easier to, just invest in the business. Basically, I think it's great offering a fantastic service, but if you're not making a proper return on the amount of work you're putting in, it doesn't make you feel good in what you do. So it's important that you get that right, that balance. So would you say that you've done things too cheaply, possibly just to get the job, or? Yeah, I think it's in the nature of design where you just try and work really hard for a client, and I think it gets ingrained in your system. You just want to get the job and finish it, but not really. you are a service, and it's that service level and the amount of money you offer the service for. You have to get right. It's a balance between, you know, costing yourself out of a job, and you know. So, you know, hopefully the next couple of years I can become more of a business person rather than just a designer.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And what about one thing we've crossed over, we actually haven't touched upon, is your design associate.
Yeah.
With design.
Well, yeah. I mean, God, that was, I think it was about 2009 or 10 or something,
right,
where the Design Council was exploring ways to help business generally, and rather than just sit in their ivory towers in London and extol the virtues who design the. I think they wanted to start, you know, looking at how they can affect business and with design input. So they came up with a scheme to push design associates into sort of business by subsidising, dropping a design consultant in there to give a business some design thinking, some sort of help in creative thinking. Really, is that
excuse me? Is that a sort of to business development kind of like using design to develop their business? Really,
yeah. Basically, a design associate would go into a business and analyse or help analyse with a client where the business is, and then look at how a design project can improve the business. And basically, you would then scope out a project with a client, and the client would obviously have to pay for that work, but it was subsidised.
Okay.
But we actually wouldn't be doing any of the design work. We just manage the process. We formulate a brief, and we basically send that brief out to tender, basically, and then manage the design company's work basically with the client. So that was a really big learning curve for me, because I'd never sort of done that before.
Do you think that sort of helped with sort of like your own business, or sort of
I think
other companies as well? Or?
Yeah, so that sort of that it was like going back to college basically. Right, I mean, it sort of dropped myself into something that I never really thought I could do, and I wasn't a big major success at it, but it basically it trained my mind into analysing businesses really, and helping them with our own design work.
No, brilliant.
And that's what we do now, basically.
No, it is actually, yeah.
So, we just sit down and then sort of, I don't spend as much time. I just sort of not cut corners, but, I'm able to, just go for the core of the reason why the business is not doing well or whatever, Or
the reason of the business, or what's the point of it being there.
So, so that's really good. That helped us.
Oh, excellent. And so what's next for NWD then? What's anything?
Next for MWD, I'd like just to carry on getting bigger, better clients who are appreciative of the work and doing more major stuff. It's just I do get a kick out of working with bigger businesses. It's been a slow build. It's taken a number of years, but businesses sometimes you jump from one client to another, and eventually you get to where you want to be, but then you're still not. You can never be so happy with where you are. You want to be. You want to move it forward.
An extra bit more.
Yeah. So, but it's not obviously it's not about the money, but it does help having bigger businesses. Yeah. Because they accept your fees more easily, and we're not trying to be greedy, but it just makes a difference having a certain fee level.
And the furniture company SolidKit, where is that sort of?
Well, that was. I've always been a furniture designer, always liked messing around with sort of sideline ideas, and one of my interns came back and showed us something. It's got a spark, and basically I just thought I could do that. So basically we started designing reception counters made from solid surface material, which it's commonly known as Corian.
Yep.
And we've taken a number of years to sort of try and build that brand, a solid surface Corian.
But that's your counters are starting to appear now.
That's we've now got like a showroom in Glasgow. We've got a number of jobs that we've fulfilled, and it's starting to look like a proper business basically.
Excellent.
And it's very controlled brand wise, and I love designing the counters. It's an expression of my design work, basically.
It was the original design process, really, isn't it? To a degree. And Panda Babies as well. Just a quick overview of Panda Babies and where I think that's going to go, or where it could go.
Panda Babies is a digital game. It's a playhome. It's a child's.
It's like a digital dollhouse.
Yeah, it's a digital dollhouse. It's got six pandas that young children from 3 upwards probably want to just play with in this home. It's a lovely. It was in a collaboration between an illustrator called Keith Brumpton. Mark, who works with us, Mark Bowden, and myself, basically, and we developed the game based around Keith's illustrations, and it was basically his idea for the
Keith
pandas.
As well, so he's also a child's author and a screenwriter as well.
He's done work for the Dumping Ground. He created MI High for the BBC. So he's really he's well respected, and he's very, very, very good. He's just had a film produced by, I think, his Far Eastern Film Company.
Fantastic.
It looks like it was about taxis and stuff.
Okay,
it's really.
So it's not Panda Babies in the movie then.
So it's I mean I think he's working. He works with Chinese production companies and Indian now. So I mean he's well. He's got loads of experience and. Again, 3 or 4 years ago, he came to us with this idea that he wanted to create a game, and I think originally he wanted to create it was a dinosaur football game, and we just said, no, we can't probably do that. It's a bit difficult.
So it's quite a turnaround.
So we basically Mark's got 3 girls, and 2 at the time, I think. Anyway, he said, well, we can't do that, but why don't we do more of a doll's house and or a play home anyway?
Yeah.
And Keith went away with and came back with Panda Babies, and it's great. It hasn't been commercially successful as yet, but the brand itself is fantastic, and we still believe in it, and we'll be developing new games. I mean, we've learned a lot. I mean, by doing Panda Babies, it's fantastic. We are exploring ways to commercialise it, and at the moment it's you have to buy it for, I think, $2.99 on the Apple platform. However, I think we might be sort of making it free, possibly. I don't know, but watch this space. We're going to push it again next year. Excellent.
No, that's great. I think we've covered pretty much everything that was set out to cover. Unless there's anything else that you want to.
Well, there's 1 or 2 really exciting projects that we've just had behind. I can't mention them, but there's something good sort of happening next year anyway. And there might be another furniture brand on its way.
Brilliant.
So I'm quite excited and looking forward to 2019.
No, excellent.
Even if we might drop out of
fit out there. No, that's great, and I'm going to keep my eyes up and look forward to seeing what 2019 brings for you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Neil.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.